And while you're busy writing those haiku, consider, are you a lucky person? Does everything you touch turn to gold? Or does it seem that misfortune's lurking around each and every corner just waiting for you to walk past so it can trip you up? And I suppose there are many of you thinking, don't be silly, there's no such thing as luck. The harder you work, the luckier you seem to get. Here to explain it all is Neil Levy from the Florey Neuroscience Institute. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kelly.
What's our understanding of luck? What is luck?
Well, some people seem to think that luck is genuine chance, where things could really go in more than one way. And so they think it's something to do with physics. I don't think it is. I think it's just about what's within our control, what we have the kind of skill to bring about. When you have a skill, then you normally succeed. At the edges of your skill, you lose control over when things happen, and that's when we say that it's lucky or unlucky.
Where did this idea of luck come from?
Well, probably. Originally, it seems to have been some kind of anthropomorphizing of some kind of external force. So the fates in Greek mythology, and I think other mythological systems have their own notions of a fate or some kind of malevolent or maybe benevolent force, like a person, an intelligent being who has who plays dice with our fate. But of course, it then becomes naturalized. We start trying to think of it in natural terms, and that leads some people to think it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the sense of being a genuine force. It's just a way of describing events.
Mm-hmm. And yet there will be people who say that they feel either lucky or unlucky. If they put in for a raffle, they feel that they've got a good chance of winning it because they win all the time, or often enough that they think they do. And then those who will turn around and say, I've never won a thing in my life, and they feel unlucky because of that. And is this part of the thinking that random chance, for some people it'll come their way and for other people it won't, and we give that a force, we create a force around that randomness?
That's right. Now, there are all kinds of psychological mechanisms that lead people to think they're lucky or unlucky. So you might win 2 raffles and think, gee, I'm a lucky person, but you haven't paid attention to all the other things you haven't won in the meantime. But then these things can be self-fulfilling, because whether you believe you've got a shot at something or you believe you don't have a shot at something is going to affect how well you perform.
What about superstition playing into this? People who have athletes, for example, who might have a routine before a game, or they have a piece of clothing that's lucky. A lot of people have an item, a St. Christopher medal, for example, to help you with travels, all those sorts of things. Do we then embody objects with luck?
Well, they certainly can play a role in making us perform. This is very interesting because lots of footballers have a lucky piece of clothing. Watch the English footballers, they often kiss the ground or something like that. And they may not actually be religious, but they have these religious gestures. One thing is, they're at very high levels of skill. They're playing against other people who are also at very high levels of skill. So they've done what they can to bring the results within their control, because they have all this skill. But there's still a big role for what they can't control. That's the other player who's equally skillful, or the other 11 in soccer. So they are acknowledging that some things are outside their control. And calling on the fates to intervene. It may actually play a role. It may help them to focus. It may enable them to concentrate, which is at that skill level, the tiniest edge may in fact make a big difference to performance. And it certainly will make a difference if they really believe in it, and then they can't find the lucky pair of underwear or whatever it might be. That might really hurt their performance.
It's very funny you mention that. My brother, who lives in Melbourne, so he's not listening to this and I can tell the story, had a pair of Lucky Jocks. And there was a screaming argument with my father one day, who was accused of wearing the Lucky Jocks. And honestly, this went on for an hour, the screaming match. So that superstition, that belief that, you know, a pair of undies can be imbued with some sort of magical force runs strong in my family, which is a bit sad, really. But I'm sure there are other people who've got similar stories of having a lucky object of some sort that's seen them through.
Yeah, well, you know, just like the preparation ritual a footballer might go through, it might help to calm them and focus them. And, you know, this kind of mental preparation may be really important for the skill.
Is it a way, do you think, Neil Levy, of taking chance and I don't know, giving it form in that if you, like Emily Seebohm, when, you know, getting second this morning, or winning second place, that she was she, you know, people might say she was unlucky, that there's something in there that we want to ascribe that feeling of randomness to something, that we have to give it form, even with athletes especially.
Yeah, she may have been unlucky. She may have, you know, if she'd swum that race, obviously she swims it all the time. She's in practice and in competition, but she might not have swum quite as well as she's capable of doing. And if she'd done it, you know, on a different day, she might have done it slightly better. On the other hand, it might have been, you know, her competition, that element which is not within her control. Swimmers can only control how fast they go. They can't control what's going on the other lanes. And then you might want to ask about whether she's lucky by asking about whether what was going on in those other lanes, the competitors that she was against, and their performance. So what you need to do is you need to actually do some standard statistics, which you can't really do on single events. But you want to know the probability that she would have won on a different day. Yeah.
Well, good talking with you, Neil Levy. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks.
Neil Levy from the Florey Neuroscience Institute, talking there about luck. Do you have a lucky object or something you have with you that you consider gives you luck? Or are you not a very superstitious person? If you have, or you know, you want to share a story, because I shared my Lucky Jock story, which will probably get, no, actually my brother won't be listening, so all is well. I should get away with that one. 1300 222 612 this afternoon, if you know of somebody who has a lucky object of some sort. And winning second place, I think I went into a bit of PC overdrive with that one, didn't I?